Long ago, a god created fire. He used it to forge spirits which he enslaved to do his bidding. Envisioning a massive army, he stoked the fire, but an explosion occurred and our universe was created. He was Guam's underworld god, Chaife. And this is Legends from the Pacific. Aloha, and thank you for joining us. This is Legends from the Pacific, episode 138, Guam's underworld god, Chaife. I am Kamuela Kaneshiro, a native Hawaiian professional writer, speaker, and Comic-Con panelist with extensive film and television experience. I have studied mythology, I've encountered unusual things, and I'm a geek.
In the beginning, there was the Pacific Ocean. A canoe broke the horizon, piloted by Pele, a beautiful Polynesian maiden who dominated the waves until she felt safe to stop.
The audiobook of our Legends from the Pacific Book 1 is now available, narrated by multi-award-winning voice actress Emily Wu Zeller. Emily has worked on anime, the video game Cyberpunk 2077, and over 500 audiobooks, including Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back, from a certain point of view. Just click the link in our show notes to purchase our audiobook and enjoy Emily telling our stories today. Later in this episode, your featured song in Hawaiian word, but first, let me share with you Guam's Lord of Fire. As usual, I apologize for any mispronounced names or words and appreciate your understanding. Chaife is the god of the underworld who controls wind, water, and fire, but he also creates typhoons and other natural disasters to ravage people. Because this is the only way he can get at us for being spirits he cannot control. If someone passes from natural causes, their spirit goes to paradise in the afterlife. However, violent passings cause spirits to go to Chaife, and he tortures them for all eternity. Interestingly enough, there is not much in how to avoid the latter aside from avoiding a violent death. After Chaife's explosion, a spirit launched from his volcanic domain and landed beside a bay. Water and sand bound to it. Wind blew the excess, and the spirit opened its eyes to the sun. The humanoid spirit stood and explored the land. While it enjoyed discovering things, it grew lonely. It returned to the bay and created a humanoid from mud. The sun beamed, and the creation opened its eyes. Chaife's lost spirit enjoyed having a companion and created more. Once Chaife calmed the havoc of his explosion, he realized one of his souls was missing. He searched the land and discovered a spirit in a body. Chaife demanded the spirit leave the body, but the spirit was created by the sun, not fire, so it did not belong to Chaife. The god resumed searching. All he saw were beings with sun spirits. But beside the bay was a pillar of rock. It was the remains of his missing spirit, which was venerated by its creations, the children of the earth. A big mahalo nui loa to our newest Patreon members, Will and Ollie Geis. Also, mahalo nui loa to their father, Andy, who wrote in saying how much his kids love our show. Once again, mahalo nui loa to Will and Ollie Geis and their father, Andy, who joins our other Patreon members, Christopher, Meg, Jessica Bullock, Edward Puaohenki, Felisa H., the Makuli Guy, and of course, Ren Shepard. Your support keeps our show going. If you'd like to support our show, please click the link in our show notes and become a Legends from the Pacific Patreon member to enjoy exclusive monthly Hawaiian stories like the rare story of who the Hawaiian volcano god was before Pele and other nifty benefits. Your rewards are waiting for you, so become a Legends from the Pacific Patreon member today. A version of Chaife's story stated when he encountered the first child of the earth, it was an actual child. Chaife tried to reclaim its soul by destroying the child, but the child avoided his attacks by shapeshifting into various forms. I'll get more into this later. While researching this story, a few things didn't seem right. First off, the image of Chaife forging spirits from fire is a very foreign and Western thing, since Pacific Island cultures didn't do this. Next, the aspect of spirits being tortured in the afterlife. You see, most Pacific Island cultures' afterlife is kind of like limbo, meaning there's not much going on, good or bad. But spirits are definitely not tortured. Well, they are if they get bored. For the record, I shared aspects of the Pacific Islander culture's afterlife in our past episodes and Patreon exclusive stories. So what influenced this story? Well, Chaife's story could have been influenced by the Spanish when they started colonizing Guam in the late 17th century. Yes, we're having a string of Spanish-influenced stories. Records stated Christianity commonly replaced another culture's beliefs with their own to convert others. On the subject of afterlife and gods, I found an interesting conversation between a Spanish and Chamorro person. While things may have been misinterpreted from time or missed in translation, when the Chamorro was asked about God and the afterlife, the individual said it was silly to go looking for God because the Chamorro came from themselves. While this seems like an odd statement, there is logic. You see, this individual stated they came from their ancestors, and since they are all related, they came from themselves. It doesn't really matter where their original ancestor came from, because they share the same blood, and are part or one of the same. That's some fourth dimensional thinking right there. Anywho, further records implied their loved ones' spirits are always around and may provide nice weather or a good catch. However, spirits of bad people could cause sickness or disaster. So are there non-Spanish influenced stories of Chaife? I'd like to believe so, but my research only revealed this version, which has many Western story elements. Chaife's lost soul created the children of the earth from mud, which felt similar to God creating man and the Hebrew story of the Golem. Also, a villain being outwitted by a child is another Western story element. So, what'd we learn today? Aside from the Spanish seeming to be everywhere in the Pacific, I really want to believe there's an uninfluenced version of Chaife's story that survived being lost to time. But returning to the shape-shifting child, I felt this was really out of place, especially since these Sun Soul people were the Chamorro ancestors. It should be noted there's another tale of Chamorro origins, but that's a story for another time. If you like what you heard, please give us a rating and write a review. I'd really appreciate it, as well as our future listeners. Speaking of which, a big mahalo nui loa to C.A. Shopper, who left us a glowing Apple Podcast review. Mahalo nui loa, C.A. Shopper. Don't forget to email me your reviews for your on-air shoutout. I look forward to mentioning you on our future episodes. Our theme song is Mystery by Tavana, courtesy of High Sessions. Sound effects are by Sound Effects Factory. Our music coordinator is Matt Duffy, aka DJ TripleBypass. Links and show notes can be found on our website, legendsfromthepacific.com, including a link to your featured song, which is Dearly by Eden Kai, courtesy of High Sessions. Legends from the Pacific was written, produced, and edited by me, Kamuela Kaneshiro. I also wrote our original stories. Your featured Hawaiian word is Kepania. Kepania means Spanish. An example of Kepania is, with our string of recent episodes, I didn't expect the Kepania Inquisition. Nobody expects the Kepania Inquisition. Once again, Kepania is Hawaiian for Spanish. That's one of my favorite Monty Python sketches. Thank you once again for listening. Mahalo and a hui ho!